Hey, Vas here from Metro Hobbies, and today we're going to be taking our very first look at a new car from Kyosho. This is the Chevy El Camino 1969 SS, and it looks absolutely fantastic. So we're going to take the cover off, have a closer look at it, and see what it's all about. Okay, so when you get one of these out of the box, this is all that you see. You're going to get the car fully assembled and ready to run. You get the radio here as well, and you get a bag of goodies. Now, in this bag, there is a bind plug that is provided for you in case you need to rebind the radio to the car. The radio should already be bound to the car out of the box, so you really shouldn't need to do it, but they do provide you one in case you need it. There is also a little bag of some spares and some tools. So in here, you have some tools here. There's some Allen keys. There's a little turnbuckle wrench, which is actually really good. I like that they provided this for you to adjust your turnbuckles. They give you some spare calipers. Now these actually give you a bigger offset in case you want to use 200mm bodies down the line. So if you don't want to wreck this body and you want to put a different body on there, and the body that you want is a 200mm as opposed to 190, they give you these so that you can widen out the offset of the wheels, which is a really good thing. And then they give you some spares, some preload spacers. There's some spare hardware in here, some rod ends, and even a couple of servo arms in there as well, which I think is fantastic. Now the manual itself is actually really comprehensive. I had a bit of a flick through earlier, and it's really nice. If I can get it out of the bag here real quick, there's some information here as well regarding some assembly parts, and then you have the manual itself, and they give you things like exploded views, there's part numbers, there's all sorts of stuff in here for you to do maintenance or repairs on the car, or you know, if you want to do find out how the electrics work, how to set up your radio. All of that information is in here for you to get started, so you shouldn't have any issues understanding how the car should work, and that's pretty much it for this bag. Okay, so now for the radio. Now the radio is one of the nicest radios that I've seen come on a ready-to-run vehicle in quite some time. It has this little rubber backing on the handle here, which makes it really comfortable to hold in the hand. The trigger feels nice and weighted, and the reverse little arm here snugs around the finger really well, which means that when you're going from forward to brake, there's no gap in between, so there's really no delay. A really nice snug fit. Another really nice touch that I like on this radio is that the wheel is on a bit of an angle compared to traditional radios, which are, you know, the wheel is kind of parallel to the radio itself. And until you actually hold it, you don't realize how much more comfortable it is to hold one of these, because naturally when you bring your hands together, you know, they're kind of facing each other. If you're holding a radio, normally you have to kink your wrist a little bit to accommodate the wheel. Having it this way just makes it super comfortable and very natural to do. So a really nice touch. I would love to see more of this with some other radios out there on the market. Now on the back here, you've got a whole bunch of knobs and dials and switches. Don't let that overwhelm you. It's actually really simple. So you have a throttle trim and steering trim up the top here. Now throttle trim you usually don't touch on electric cars, you leave that in a neutral position, and the steering trim is just to kind of align the steering so that the car obviously drives straight. Steering dual rate is great because this allows you to kind of set how much angle you want on the steering. If you find that the car's a little bit too sensitive, you can turn that down. And then they also give you throttle EPA. So EPA stands for endpoint adjustment, which means that you can actually program the top speed of the car, not just in the forward motion, but also in the reverse. So really nice that they've included that, and nice big dials, easy to see. Anybody can sort of fiddle around with that. And then you have your reverse switches here for both your throttle and your steering. In case you know, you steer to the right and the thing goes to the left, you can flick that around. On and off switch back here, and the radio runs on 4 AA's, which of course you will need to get as well. Really nice radio included with this car. All right, so now to the main event, the car itself. And it kind of, like, this looks so amazing that I'm almost scared to put fingerprints on it and touch it. The body is ultra scale. It feels really nice and rigid. It doesn't feel flimsy at all, but it does come in a few different parts. You can tell where the joints have been done in the mold. So there's actually a lot of effort that's gone into putting this car together, this body together. There's detail in the window trimmings. There's rear vision mirrors. There's little SS badges on the back of the car here. There's number plates, chrome bumpers. There's chrome around the wheel arches and everything. And around the front, super detail with light buckets on the headlights. And I believe there's light buckets in the rear as well, from memory. Yeah, there's light buckets in the rear, so you can actually put LEDs in here if you wish. So ultra detailed, tinted windows, really nice matte finish on the tarp here to simulate the tarp over the back of the ute, which is really nice. And yeah, the body is one of those that you want to run it, but you got to be really careful not to scratch it up because it's just beautiful. They've done an outstanding job with this body. Well done on this. It is a fantastic looking body, one of the best ones that I've seen on a ready to run. Now for the car itself, this is the Fazer Mark II chassis. So there's a couple of little changes that they've done on this car or on this chassis, which actually looks really good. First of all, you've got new shocks on here. So these are oil-filled shocks, and the suspension actually feels really nice on this car. Really like the way they've done that. There's also adjustable body posts on here as well, which means that if you decide to swap out the body, maybe you have just a bit of a basher body on here that you can sort of wreck. You know, you can adjust the body posts to suit that body accordingly. You've got scale detailed wheels and tires as well, and of course behind the wheels you'll see that there's actually calipers and those rotors, which are, you know, they give you spares for as well for the wider offset. You're running you know, swing arm suspension on the back and on the front. You've got plastic, really thick plastic drive shafts on here, both front and rear. There's also a nice plastic drive shaft going through the center here. The motor is a 14-turn 550 size can with a built-in fan to keep it nice and cool. You have your receiver kind of tucked in. Receiver and ESC is kind of tucked in this little cover here in the middle, and then your servo is just tucked away under here as well. Now the servo does say that it is waterproof, but you need to be a little bit careful running this through water because the receiver does look to be fully exposed, and I'm not sure that the receiver is waterproof. So if you do splash this through water, just be really mindful that you might fry your receiver. Now, on the front here, I can see that there's a really nice front bumper on there. It's got a little bit of a kick up on here as well, which is nice for on-road cars. It just kind of prevents you from, you know, getting, I guess, the front end stuck on little curbs and things like that. They also give you a nice big foam block in here to kind of set your battery in position. Now this foam block could potentially be taken out for longer battery packs, or you can even shift it to the rear if you prefer a different little bit of a weight bias. The connector included is a Deans or T-style connector, and the battery tray has a couple of little foam tabs on here as well, just to protect the battery in the actual chassis itself, and then that's strapped in with a nice Velcro strap. So it should give you options to either put, you know, a nickel metal battery or perhaps even a 2S battery as well to run in here quite comfortably. So the chassis also has two grease-filled diffs front and rear, which is actually really nice, and they do have bevel gears in them as well. There's full ball bearings running right through the car, so no bushings here to be found, which is a nice touch as well. And yeah, it's a really clean setup, minimal sort of wiring sticking out. I mean, you really only have the battery connector kind of sticking out here, little on and off switch nicely tucked away on the side, so it's really easy to access. You can just put your hand underneath the chassis or underneath the body when the body's on, turn the car on and off. Makes life real easy for when you're actually you know, wanting to run this car. So I really like the neatness of it. I absolutely love the body. I think they've done a fantastic job with the body on this. Looks super scale, and of course they do give you some body pins which I've taken off, but yeah, they do give you body pins to put the body on. Very nice looking car from Kyosho, and yeah, soon to be available here at Metro Hobbies. So that concludes our first look at the new Kyosho 1969 Chevy El Camino SS396. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to hit that thumbs up button. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new to the channel. And of course, check out the video description for all the links to the car and our socials as well, so you can keep up to date with everything that goes on here on the channel. That is it from me. Thank you for watching, and I'll speak to you all next time.